I think I'm finally starting to get my e-bike bike packing setup all dialed in here. So let's talk about this entire crazy setup, starting with the e-bike and then going through all of my gear. It's an Emmo E-Wild C2, and it's the top spec of the battery at 1200 watt hours, so I can get the most amount of range out of it. It's a full-size fat tire bike with 26-inch wheels, and I did actually finally get a phone mount. My wife actually got it for me for my birthday, but I'm not too optimistic about the quality of this thing. If you remember from my stealth camping trip, I had this temporary bright orange backpack to pair with the Pannier bags, and as you know, bright orange is not the best color if you're trying to stealth camp. So I finally did get a dedicated green backpack, which color matches with all the other bags and stuff that I have going on for a green on white aesthetic. The backpack actually serves three purposes. It's for gear overflow, for things that don't fit in my Pannier bags, for holding valuables, and also anything that smells. So obviously I've got my food bag in there, I've got my cookware, like my pots and the gas for the stove, my sporks buried in there somewhere, and also my cleaning cloth. Then there's the hygiene stuff, like my toothbrush and toothpaste, floss, antiperspirant, and then any electronics that I bring with me, like my tablet, my ROG Ally, my Koba Clara 2E, which sounds like a bit much, but remember, with an e-bike, you have to spend time waiting for it to charge, so having something to kill a few hours with while I wait for the battery to charge up, and at the end of the day, while I'm at a campsite or in a motel, is pretty awesome. Then I have my handlebar bag, which is just a janky bag from an old backpack. As you can see, it's kind of just barely holding on, and if it wasn't for the fender on the front tire, it'd be rubbing up against the tire. I've got my keys for both my bike lock and my bike battery in there. I've got my bike tool for repairing and maintaining the bike if I have to swap out an inner tube or keep things all tight, as things like to rattle loose on this bike. I've got my bike pump in there for pumping up the tires if it gets a little low or if I get a flat and need to put in a new inner tube. I've got the bike lock itself. I also have a brand new U-lock that I'm adding in there, and I'm going to go with both locks. And I also have a fast charger in there for charging up the e-bike. One thing I don't have in here that will be coming soon is some extra inner tubes. That's one thing I haven't picked up for the bike yet. For my water bottles, I have 4 liters of water total, and I'm not happy with how they just kind of stick out from the sides of the Pannier bags. It causes clearance issues on tight trails, and I've already had one fall out when I'm bringing my bike through tight bushes in a stealth camp. I know 4 liters of water is a bit much, but I'm always on the better safe than sorry side when it comes to hydration. And then on the top of the Pannier bags, I've got my sleeping pad. It's just a Z-Packs. As for the Pannier bags themselves, they're a Dreamoon brand 50-liter set of Pannier bags, 69 bucks Canadian on Amazon. Link below if you want them. So let's take a look through everything that I've got in here. This is where most of my gear lives. In the right bag main compartment, I've got my sleeping bag. Now, it's been surprisingly cold this summer so far, so I still have my cold weather sleeping bag in there. And because it's so big, that's the only thing that fits in that compartment. In the right rear zippered compartment, I've got my multi-tool, which is the only cutting tool that I bring on backpacking trips. I've got my gas stove. I've got cordage, which is mostly just my ridge line for my tarp, and some extras in case I need some extra length to stake out the corners of the tarp. I've got my new headlamp. I've got a bug head net, which in Canadian summers, trust me, you really need that thing. I've got my fire starting kit, which consists of a ferro rod, a fire starting stick, some matches, and a lighter. And then, of course, I have some hand sanitizer in there for hygiene purposes. In the right side zippered compartment, I've got wet wipes and toilet paper for taking massive dumps. I've got my Platypus 2-liter water bladder for extra water capacity in case I need it. It's super lightweight and takes up almost no space when it's empty, so even though I already have quite a lot of water in there, it's worth it to have in there. And I've got my Katadyn Be-Free 1-liter water bladder with the filter for filtering water on the go, which despite how the bottle looks, I actually have a brand new filter on there. I've also got a waterproof bag in there for my phone, which is very important since my brand new phone is actually not waterproof rated at all. I've got a folding 3D printed gas canister stand, which I actually sell in my shop, link below if you're interested. And the last thing that's in there, some long expired aqua tabs. All right, switching over to the left Pannier bag. In the main compartment, I've got my clothes bag, which just contains some extra boxers and socks and a t-shirt. I've got my first aid kit in there. I've got my tent, which I use 3D printed tent pegs with. If you haven't seen my tent setup before, it's just a little bivy one-man style tent, and instead of a rainfly, I actually use a tarp, which gives me some options for setup. And the left rear zippered compartment is where I keep my power kit, which is everything I need to keep all my electronics charged up. It's got a 26,800 milliamp hour Anker power bank and all the USB cables I need. Probably a bit overkill for a power bank for most people on backpacking trips, but remember that I also have to keep all my GoPros charged up so I can film my adventures. In the left side zippered compartment, all that's in there is my rain poncho. The setup needs some fine tuning, but overall I'm actually pretty happy with where it's at now. I could even lift the Pannier bags off the frame if I have to leave the bike locked up outside. I've done some testing, and the only real issue I have with this setup is the side clearance. Those water bottles, man, they just stick out way too far. It's ridiculous. I do e-bike bikepacking and backpacking trips on all sorts of wacky electric rideables, so make sure you're subscribed if you're into that shit.